before you went back down to Blue Morpho, you were actually up here in Colorado with sacred work with cannabis. Can you expand on a little more on your work and what you were, maybe some synchronicities that you found in between the ayahuasca work and the cannabis work?
Yeah, I was looking after about 13, 14 years of ayahuasca practice and just training in the Amazon, which was, isolated to those plants. Our culture and our lineage was that we work with these plants. We don't work outside of that. I decided to, expand our horizons and go find all the visionary plants that people were working with and start to apply our techniques to them and see how much were the plants and how much were the techniques, and really understand, this combination between working with the plants and the work that we do ourselves. And I turned to cannabis as a medicinal plant. I had a motorcycle accident in 2010. I had sciatic nerve damage. I was in the States. I was away from ayahuasca. I know how to treat my own pain with ayahuasca and those medicinal plants, and I was away from it. And I was looking for another kind of medicinal plant. And so I was using cannabis as a medicine for pain treatment. And then I wanted to see and explore how much could we bring the techniques and tools that we have in the consciousness and in spirit to the plant, and not just consume it as a medicine, but also practice the medicine. And so I had an original exploratory journey that I've talked about as well, where for 5 to 6 hours, I just was taken on a mapping of the plant itself. I met the medicine of the plant, and the spirit awakened about it. And there was this direct communication with the plant the very first time I consumed it. And I just lay down in a really safe space and got really comfortable and went into this deep trance. And it was incredible. It wasn't like quote unquote being high. On the contrary, it was being completely lucid. I felt great. I didn't have any pain. And I went into this trance and everything opened up, very similar to ayahuasca, only it was cannabis. And there was different patterns and there was different colors. And I got taken through a history, about a 20,000 year history of the use of cannabis by humans, from cave people all the way through the different cultures, the Eastern philosophical cultures, the expansion of it as a medicine, 10,000 years ago around the world, to, then differing attitudes about that and propaganda about it, etc. And then different cultures and different tribes that had used it in the various ways, and the different aspects of our own culture and different, music groups and stuff like that use it in different ways. And I just saw kind of each one of these, one of these kind of evolutions of the plant in terms of the importance that it had for our society. And I wanted to awaken the evolution of it as a experiential visionary medicine. So
Yeah.
this was now the sort of what I thought of as the next generation work on the shamanism and the tribal uses and the understandings of it fundamentally as a medicine, and how we could bring the consciousness arts to it for very specific shift in consciousness. And what I really liked about the plant was that it is difficult to work with, but it wasn't for me as dangerous at that period of time as some of the other plants. And so it opened up to a very navigable space. You could get fully into it in a very large dose and be very comfortable within that space and go on a very long trance. Like some of these edible journeys we were on were 10, 12, 14-hour journeys, punctuated by some serious vaping along the way, which, supported that experience. But you could go very deep into the trance state and into the spirit and into source and connect that way. And it was also more accessible for other people. And, the legality around it was changing in ways that there's a lot more places that people could use it as a medicine. And so I wanted to support people in learning the tools and techniques to be able to use it as a medicine. So what is, answering the question, what is conscious cannabis use? And what is spiritual cannabis use? And how do we transcend the just getting high culture to, using this in a very purposeful way for life improvement? And how can we codify specific shifts in consciousness? Like, what does the container need to look like for this? What's a sacred space with cannabis? What's a circle that we would sit in? What are the chants? What are the icaros that come through the cannabis? And, how are they different? How are they the same to ayahuasca? And these were all different experiences that we were having from 2014 to about 2018 when I went back down to the Amazon. I think it's been a very important part of my journey, and I'm very grateful to have had it. It was a tremendous time of opening for us, and I still think it's an incredible medicinal plant. Inside the Blue Morpho Academy, we're going to be teaching about cannabis as much as teaching about amanita, or teaching about kava kava, or teaching about valerian root. There's all of these different plants that we can work with. Cannabis is just one of them. Ayahuasca is just one of them. San Pedro is just one of them, right? These are, they become whole fields of study in their own right. And, you know, people have their favorites. People have the ones that they like the best, that most resonate with them. Personally, for me, I love them all. I literally love them all. I have an absolute love and compassion for all of these plants that are there to help support us and awaken consciousness. Cannabis has been an incredible benefit to me and my life, and really grateful for those experiences.